we don't have a real X7M, and the closest you can get to one is the Alpina XB7, which makes 612 horsepower, and it'll do 0 to 60 in 4 seconds flat. But we're not here to talk about the Alpina XB7. We're here to talk about the BMW X7 M50i, and this one here makes 523 horsepower, and it'll do 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, making it just a half second slower than the Alpina XB7, and this one actually looks more aggressive than the XB7. That being said, today I'll give you a tour of the BMW X7 M50i, and then I'll give you my opinion on what I think about this high-performance luxury yacht. But before I do, make sure you hit subscribe down there and hit the like button as well, because that really helps me out. And let's do this. Before we get into everything else, let's take a look at some of the cool and interesting things that you should know about the X7 M50i. But first, let's see a launch control and hear some exhaust sounds. Now, you may think that this thing doesn't have launch control, but it surprisingly does. I mean, this is a quote-unquote M model after all. Interestingly enough, you don't have to activate Sport or Sport Plus mode to use launch control. You can actually launch this thing in Comfort mode, but I'm going to head over to Sport Plus just to be sure. But all you really have to do is just hit the traction button once and put the gear selector into S1, and that's it. It's that simple to launch the X7 M50i. And then you put your foot on the brake, accelerator all the way down, you'll see launch control active. Oh man. That's really fast. And I have my window open, so sorry for the noise. And of course, since this is a BMW with an M badge, we do have to hear the exhaust sound, so let's listen to it. Now, we've all heard of dual zone climate control, and you've probably heard of 3-zone and 4-zone, but the X7 here has 5-zone climate control. That's insane. As a part of the $1,200 cold weather package, you get 5-zone climate control, and that means everybody in the X7, including third-row passengers, can enjoy their own climate settings. That's something you don't see very often, and I really like that. I mean, don't you just hate it when the person next to you wants to be 2 degrees cooler, like that really makes a difference? Well, that's the comforts of luxury. Oh, and don't forget the cold weather package also gives you heated front seats. That's not surprising, but you also get heated second row seats. Not surprising either, but you also get heated third row seats, and that's something you don't see very often. Now, there are many packages that you can add to the X7 M50i, but I highly suggest adding the executive package, which costs $1,300. And for that $1,300, you get something called Sky Lounge, and I'm sure you've seen this in other BMW models before, but for those that haven't, the Sky Lounge is basically a beautiful atmospheric mood lighting embedded into the panoramic roof. It consists of 15,000 light elements and looks absolutely beautiful at nighttime. You also get these beautiful glass controls, including the iDrive controller, the start-stop button, and this beautiful diamond cut glass gear selector. It looks really nice. It lights up at night. I love this package quite a bit. So if you're going to get any package, definitely add the executive package. Last but not least, the executive package also gives you heated and cooled cup holders, and they really, really work. They keep your drink cool, or they keep it hot depending on the setting. That's very cool. Let's hop into the pricing details. Pricing for the X7 xDrive 40i, the base model, starts at $74,900. The X7 M50i starts at $99,800. As tested here, you're looking right under $114,000. Now, of course, we do have to talk about power and performance. Power for the X7 M50i here comes from a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8, making 523 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque, and that's made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, this is the fastest X7 that you can buy before you step up to the Alpina XB7, which makes 612 horsepower. Now, when it comes to 0 to 60, the X7 M50i here will do it in 4.5 seconds with a top speed of 130 miles an hour. The Alpina XB7 will do it in 4 seconds flat, so this is just a half second slower than the XB7. When it comes to the drive modes, you can select them with the buttons in the center console, and you have the option to pick between Sport, Sport Plus, and Sport Individual. And then you have Comfort. You have Eco Pro, which you should probably never use in this car. As for fuel economy, you get 15 city, 21 highway. You have a 22-gallon tank capacity. I'm averaging, after a couple days of driving, a total of 13.9 miles a gallon. Now let's spend a few minutes talking about the exterior design of the X7 M50i, because I think it looks really cool and very, very aggressive. I'm already a huge fan of the BMW X7's exterior design language, but the X7 M50i here hit the gym and got really buff. The weird part is, that the faster Alpina XB7 doesn't even look as aggressive as the X7 M50i here. The Alpina XB7 seems to be just a regular X7 wearing a cooler body kit, but the X7 M50i here looks like BMW's M team really went to work. The front end of the X7 M50i looks especially aggressive with black front bumpers with larger openings for more cooling, and you also get BMW Individual's high gloss shadowline trim and serum gray highlights on the grille, side view mirrors, and other areas. You can black out everything a little bit more if you go for the extended shadowline trim, so you don't see a lot of serum gray like you do on this model here. When it comes to the headlamps, the X7 M50i comes standard with icon adaptive LED headlights with laser lights, and they look really cool with a hint of blue in them. You also have very cool looking taillights in the back. I love the design of the headlights on the taillights on the X7 quite a bit. And finally, let's take a look at these wheels. The X7 M50i models all get 22-inch M wheels, and you have a total of 3 designs to pick from. Let's take a seat inside the X7 M50i, and there is no doubt that this is an amazing place to be. It's very luxurious, very stylish, and extremely comfortable. BMW has definitely stepped up their game when it comes to interior design, tech, and especially when it comes to quality. Mostly all BMWs have a very luxurious cabin, especially the X7 right here, since this is the big daddy of the SUV lineup for BMW. My test model comes with cognac leather trim, but if you want to take it up a notch, you can go for merino leather upholstery, which ranges between $1,000 to $3,700, depending on the color you get. Now, if you don't want to spend the extra money for the merino leather, I would highly recommend spending an extra $850 to upgrade to the leather dashboard option, which adds a beautiful and elegant look with a fully leather wrapped dashboard and upholstery, and it gives it a really upscale and rich look on the inside. Comfort-wise, the X7 does not disappoint at all. Each seat in the X7 is very comfortable since this is meant to be more of an executive SUV. Now, we've already discussed the heated seat game on the model that I'm testing right here, but you also get cooled front seats, you also get a heated steering, and of course, you also get heated armrests. And if you go for the luxury seating package for an extra $1,100, you will also get massaging seats. Now let's hop into the second row of the X7 M50i. My test model here does come with the optional $850 captain chairs. They're really cool. Highly recommend it. Once you get back here, you have 37.6 inches of legroom. That's my seating position when I'm driving. As you can see, still have plenty of legroom here. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you do have your own dual zone climate control back here along with heated seats, but you also have a bunch of other controls right here next to your window button. You can control the rear automatic shade on both sides. That's very, very cool. And then you can also control the shade for the panoramic roof, just like that. I'm going to leave it open. And you can also control the shade for the third row roof, just like that. Pretty cool. And of course, I have to show you how to get into the third row. All you have to do is just pull this latch right here, and the seat will automatically start folding forward. First, the front seat will move a little bit forward if it's blocking the way. Then that second row seat will lift up, and that will give you easy access to climb into the third row. And let's do it. Once you get back here, it's going to be difficult. 33.3 inches of rear legroom. Let's close this up and see where it stops, and if me, being almost 6 foot tall, has enough legroom back here, or if my feet get crushed. Still going. Still going. Not bad. Oh, still going. Oh, now I'm getting crushed. Ouch. Now, once you find a way to be comfortable in the third row, you won't feel left out because you have heated seats, as I mentioned earlier, on both sides of the third row. You have your own climate control, and you also have your own USB-C port on both sides. Pretty dope. You won't get bored back here, and you won't feel left out. Now, check this out. Say that you folded the third row seats during your last trip because you needed more cargo capacity, and now you need to use them once again. You don't have to go all the way back to the cargo area to put them up. There's buttons right here, and they're on both sides of the car. You just push the button, and the seats will start going back up, so you don't have to exert any extra energy, walk to the back, pop the trunk, and then put them up. Very cool and very convenient. Now, while we're talking about cargo capacity, let's pop the trunk and check it out. You don't have much. I think you have about 13 cubic feet behind the third row. With the third row folded, you have about 48 cubic feet. But the coolest thing here is that you can just push this button right here that says Max Suitcase, which is Max Cargo, and the third row seats will start folding to give you the max cargo capacity. Very cool. You don't have to do each seat individually. There's just a dedicated button to fold them all. And then if you want max seating, you just push this max with a person sitting down, and the seats should come right back up so you can use the third row once again. Very convenient. And one more cool thing before I move on, this does have an air suspension. So say the X7 is at a high ride height, you can just push this button right here, and it will lower the car so you can easily access the tailgate area and the cargo area. And this does have a split gate and it's automatic. And once you're done using everything, you can just push this one button right here and everything will close automatically. Very cool. This car is super convenient when it comes to cargo and third row access. Let's talk about tech really quick, starting with the gauge cluster. It's pretty much the same gauge cluster that you've seen in my last few BMW reviews. So I'll link them below, or you'll see one popping up in the right-hand corner right now. But yeah, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Just check out one of my other reviews and you'll get a deeper dive into this gauge cluster. Let's talk about the infotainment system here really quick. You have a giant 12.3-inch touchscreen display with iDrive 7.0. Now, if you want a deeper dive into iDrive 7.0, just check out my many other BMW reviews where I go into deeper detail of each of the different features of this infotainment system. But just a quick overview, you do have Apple CarPlay, you do have Android Auto. This is your main home screen right here, and then you could just use the iDrive controller down here to go through other settings, including media, communications, navigation, car, apps, what have you. But if you want a deeper dive into all this stuff, just check out one of my other BMW reviews where I go into deeper detail. Of course, one of the coolest things about iDrive 7.0 is the BMW Assistant, and that will let you do things like this. Hey BMW, what's the weather outside?
Currently, it is cloudy in East Brunswick with a temperature of 72 degrees.
Hey BMW, change the ambient lighting to blue.
I've selected the lighting color blue with contour in blue.
Very cool. Now, I've talked about BMW's ambient lighting system quite a bit before. It is definitely one of the best in the industry, and you have a bunch of color options to pick from, including contour colors. You have bronze, you have orange, the traditional BMW color, no matter what anybody says, white, blue, green, lilac, and that's it. And it looks really, really nice. The Bowers & Wilkins speakers also light up at night, and then you have the Sky Lounge roof. Looks absolutely beautiful in here at nighttime. And of course, you have a bunch of driver assist tech here, including adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, and a bunch of other stuff you can add on as an option. Obviously, we all love the 3D camera right here that you're seeing. It's very cool. BMW's image mapping technology is one of the best in the industry. If you want to see things like automatic parking and backup assistant, check out my BMW M8 competition review. Link is popping up in the right-hand corner, or you can access it in the description below, and you can see full details on how automatic parking and backup assistant work. Now, before I give you my opinion on how it is to drive the X7 M50i, let me point out a few random things that I always love to show all of you, starting off with this amazing Bowers & Wilkins sound system. It's one of the best in the industry. In my opinion, when buying a new car, one of the most important factors to consider is having a good sound system, and the Bowers & Wilkins sound system here is really amazing. It costs an extra $3,400, and you have a bunch of preset sound profiles, including studio, concert 3D, onstage, movie theater, lounge 3D, and then you have 3D intensity, which just increases the intensity of each profile. I like to keep it in concert 3D. It sounds absolutely amazing. It's a very good sound system, so if you're going to get a BMW, make sure you opt for the Bowers & Wilkins sound system. Now, usually you would expect at least over 10 cup holders in a car of this size, but you have a total of 6, 2 in the front, which are heated and cooled cup holders, and then you have 2 for the second row passengers. They're located right down there, and then you have 2 for the third row passengers, 1 right there and 1 right there. Let's hear the door open and close sound on the X7 M50i, but first of all, these are soft closed doors. Pretty cool. Let's hear from the outside and from the inside. Very solid. Here are what the keys look like for the X7 M50i. They're just like any other BMW key. You do have the M stripes right here, since this is quote-unquote an M model. And of course, let's hear how the horn sounds on the X7 M50i. Pretty solid. Didn't expect anything less. Now that I've given you a tour of the BMW X7 M50i, let me give you my opinion on what I think about this giant high-performance luxury boat. Let's get to it. So who really out there needs a high-performance large luxury SUV? I would say my answer to that would be people who want a large luxury family SUV, but also like to have fun. Honestly, the X7 xDrive 40i is plenty quick for a vehicle of this size. That'll do 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds. The 523 horsepower X7 M50i will do 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. Pop this thing into sport mode and it'll accelerate with minimal effort, and that's very impressive considering that this thing weighs over 5,600 pounds. Obviously, this isn't a track monster, so when it comes to handling, this isn't the best handling BMW, but it's still pretty stable and firmly planted on the road when you're really pushing it. When it comes to rivals, you really have the Mercedes-AMG GLS 63, and that will do 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds. So your real X7 M that competes with that is the Alpina XB7, which will hit 60 in 4 seconds flat. One thing you do have to consider though is whether the extra performance that you get with the X7 M50i is worth an extra $25,000 to you, because the X7 X-Drive 40i starts at $74,900, the X7 M50i starts at $99,800. As tested here, you're looking at right under $114,000, so it can really get up there. Either way, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Omar Drives or on TikTok at Omar Drives. I'll see you next week. Take care. Peace. I'm going to pop this thing into Sport Plus mode. And it sounds really nice too. Really like this car.